Thank you, Clement, for the introduction, and thank you also to Lily for inviting me to present this work. This work that, as you said, Clement, it's a joint effort, and I would like to thank now all the contributors to this work that are listed here in the first slide. So I will present this this study called Bioeconomy Strategy Developments in EU Regions. First of all, I would like to give a, a brief introduction to the project where I'm working in, and especially because I see very nice synergies and similarities with the transition to bio project. Because I'm working in the Knowledge Center for Bioeconomy, which is actually a virtual entity that aims at bring together knowledge and expertise from within the Commission, but also beyond the Commission. And the ultimate goal is to support policymaking on bioeconomy with the latest available evidence. So we do so, as you can see in the slide, by three main, let's say, group of activities. First is making relevant information accessible. So we screen more than 140 sources of information in a weekly basis using a text mining tool developed by the GRC, and with a knowledge expert and judgment, we select the most relevant information and make it available in our website. So we have a curated library with many resources, and I think this may be also a good source of information for the library that Clement presented at the beginning in the transition to bio project. The only difference is that our library or our project in general target mainly policy officers from the Commission, but also some other policy officers in national ministries or governmental organizations, also at regional level. And only as a secondary target audience, we have researchers, but also citizens at large. So I see nice similarities and synergies with the project. Then we also support policymaking, pulling relevant expertise, because we try to gather tacit knowledge from experts. So we have a community of practice. And we organize online and offline events to pull this expertise and this knowledge. And lastly, we make sense of all this information, and by analyzing and synthesizing and communicating this evidence to policymakers with different, let's say, tools. We produce videos, infographics, interactive visualizations, policy briefs, and many other different outputs that may be of your interest. Okay, so now let me check. So I will pass on to the main topic of this presentation, which is the study on the bioeconomy strategy in the EU regions. And here you can see in a nutshell what the study is about. The study was commissioned by the GRC as a contribution to the Knowledge Center, but the work was actually conducted by a consortium composed by the Spatial Foresight and the Austrian Institute for Regional Studies, which conducted the study between August 2021 and May of this year. The ultimate objective was to map and analyze the development of regional strategies related to bioeconomy in the EU. And they did so with a, let's say, structured methodology. First, they did a desk research. They set up a list of keywords defining the bioeconomy in different languages, and they based their research on official documents and information from website. Then, to complement this information, they conducted an online website, survey, targeting two main group of experts. First, experts from relevant stakeholders like clusters, research institutions, and other relevant stakeholders. And the second group targeting policy officers or experts from governmental organizations from regional and national authorities. Then with this information, they built a database and they did a deep analysis of the information collected. The geographical scope of the study was NUTS 1 and NUTS 2 scale, and only for certain countries, they needed to scale down the analysis to NUTS 3 level. The thematic scope, it's described here in these bullet points. Firstly, we aim at mapping every type of regulatory framework dealing with the bioeconomy, and thus this may be named as strategies, but also action plans, roadmaps, or resource management plans. Then they classified the strategies according to the bioeconomy focus, and they distinguished between the strategies that were fully dedicated to bioeconomy, mainly those strategies that have the bioeconomy in the core of the strategy. They also distinguish between strategies with a strong bioeconomy focus, where bioeconomy was a key element, but also the strategy was dealing with other sectors or other maybe a wider approach. And they also they classified whether these strategies were sectorial or they were tackling the bioeconomy as a whole. And last, they also classified those strategies according to whether the status, whether they were already adopted or under development. So here just the results of this study. In the EU, we mapped or identified 28 regions with strategies fully dedicated to the bioeconomy, +1 under development. You can see here in the map. Also, another 62 strategies regions had strategies with a strong bioeconomy focus, and 94 other regions with strategies with a minimum bioeconomy content. Overall, in the EU, we identify 194 regions at different NUTS scale with strategies related to the bioeconomy, developed or under development. Obviously, one region may have more than one strategy. So overall, in the EU, we identified 324 regional strategies, out of which 32 or 10% were fully dedicated to bioeconomy, while 65% had the bioeconomy embedded into a wider, let's say, framework or topic. And these, as you can see here, were mainly plans or territorial rural development programs or smart specialization strategies, circular economy development plans, and so on. So in this wider regulatory frameworks, the bioeconomy was embedded, while in the 26 remaining percent, the bioeconomy was seen as was addressed in sectoral strategies, mainly in forestry management plans, but also in waste management plans or energy programs, and in a minor extent, agricultural plans or aquatic or those strategies dealing with aquatic biomass. So here are some results of the analysis of the strategies identified. Here in this spider chart, you can see the 5 objectives of the European Bioeconomy Strategy, namely ensuring food and nutrition security, managing natural resources sustainably, reducing dependence on non-renewable resources, mitigating and adapting to climate change, and strengthening European competitiveness and job creation. So we analyze which of those strategies pursue these objectives of the European strategy, and you can see here in the dark green line, these are all the strategies we identified, and you can see they are quite aligned with the strategies of the European, the objectives of the European strategy, and specifically, most of them were addressing these three objectives. In the light line, you can light green line, you can see those strategies that were only fully dedicated to bioeconomy, and the picture is quite similar. But interestingly, they addressed in a broader extent the objective of ensuring food and nutrition security. Here you can see the biomass resources that were addressed in those regional strategies. As you can see, most of the strategies were addressing forestry-based biomass in 20% of them. Agricultural biomass was also an important resource addressed by these strategies. As you can see, 16% agricultural biomass and 11% residues. And you can see here in this part of the pie chart all the different wastes that were also addressed in those strategies: industrial, household waste, or food waste. Here on the map on the right side, you can see the regional strategies, let's say, placed in the different regions, and you can see nicely the correlation between the different types of resources available in the different regions. You can see in the Nordic countries where the strategies were mainly addressing forestry biomass, as you could expect. Surprisingly, in other countries with large forest areas like Romania or Slovakia, the strategies were not addressing this type of biomass, and we think it's mainly because those type of biomass are being tackled at a national level or even at a forest owner level. You can see also that the agricultural biomass is mainly addressed in the central and southern Europe. And you can see also aquatic biomass being addressed in different specific regions like south of Italy or in the north of Spain. Here in this slide, just to show the policy measures that were included in this in the strategies that we identified. Many of these strategies are, let's say, contemplating policy measures to enable governance of the bioeconomy, and the goal would be to ensure policy coherence across sector actors and timeframes. But also, very importantly, these strategies are establishing measures to fund research and innovation in those regions. In a lesser extent, you can see that other policy measures are aiming at ensuring collaboration between actors, building training infrastructure platforms, and so on. Now, I will focus on those measures that aim at promoting bioeconomy and raise awareness, since this is the topic of this training. And I extracted this information from the database. And mainly, you can see here that that actually there is a low deployment of policy measures aiming at raise awareness on the bioeconomy. Only 7% of the regional strategies that we identified have measures to raise this, to provide information on the bioeconomy and raise awareness. Also, we see differences between countries. As you can see here, there are some countries where a large share of the regional strategies include this type of measures. And here in the map, you can see also that the most of the map is in blue, light blue, mainly meaning that the regional strategies do not include measures to raise awareness. And here I have extracted some type of measures that try to foster this information and to raise awareness. You can find measures like establishing or informing stakeholders with web pages, media, specific events like workshops, roundtables, and other activities. Then you can see also that they established advertisement campaigns targeting consumers and citizens at large, and other type of measures like creating territorial networks to showcase best practices. So here, as a very last slide, some patterns that we found from this overall study. We identified certain patterns per country on how and which wider frameworks bioeconomy is embedded. So, for instance, in Spain, the bioeconomy is often included in circular economy strategies, while in Italy, bioeconomy is typically addressed within sustainable development strategies. We also saw two main factors that triggered the presence of strategies at regional level, mainly the size and the centralization of the country. Basically, if the country is large and decentralized, there is a high probability that the country has regional strategies. But also the existence of a strategy at national level, because if there is a national strategy, it may be applicable also to the regional level, and you may not find regional strategies in this country. And also, last but not least, to mention that there are macro-regional initiatives that are triggering and driving the presence of the regional strategies and helping stakeholders to develop these strategies. And we saw, for instance, Interreg as a program that is really supporting the development of regional strategies, and also obviously BioEast, from which we will have a presentation later on. So just to inform you that the outputs of the study are these three main ones. So we have a report with the main information of the analysis, and we have a summary for each country. We have published also a data set where you can download and explore the data yourself, but also an interactive dashboard in the Knowledge Center website, where the user can interact with the map and the information, the underlying information to go and be driven to the original source of the information where these strategies are collected. And with that, I would like to thank you, and I will invite you as well to subscribe to our bi-monthly newsletter, where you will find the most relevant news and events in the bioeconomy sphere, and mainly tackling the work from the JRC.